guys, we have arrived in the beautiful south coast of New South Wales, and this week we're going to do a bit of a different video. We asked you guys on socials if you had any questions about the van build or van life, so we're going to answer those as we explore this area.
To get into the questions, we're going to start out with the van build. This one is, if you built the van again, would you go complete electric with a 48 volt setup, or would you still use gas for cooking and hot water? What do you reckon?
We did talk about this a bit when we were putting the gas box in and sort of doing the planning around it, and then once we'd started traveling, we sort of talked about it a little bit more as well, and we did so much research into it, or at least I did. I think for full-time travel, I'm really happy that we did have the gas for the instant hot water and for the cooking. It gave us just a little bit more flexibility in terms of our power use. There was a couple of periods where we had a bit of cloud and a bit of rain, and with Starlink on and we sort of bunkered down, we did draw down on our power a bit. But I think if you were going to do like a weekend camper, I'd probably do maybe an all electric where you're not relying on it as much.
All right, the next question is, would you make any changes to your current setup now that you've lived in it? And for me, like, the only thing that comes to mind, which is not something that I would actually change, because what's the point? The fan in the bathroom. It's just so annoying.
So noisy.
And I don't think we need it, because where our max fan is, it's pretty much in the middle. So you open the door to the shower door, and it just gets sucked up the max air fan anyway. I mean,
in saying that, it does give you a bit of white noise and a bit of background noise when you're doing number 2 in there.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't probably actually change it, but that loud fan is annoying. Like, I don't like keeping it on long periods of time anyway, even if I wanted to draw up the moisture.
Yeah, I think we put so much thought and effort into planning out the build that we've kind of got the best that we could with what we're working with. I think there's always going to be compromises. One of the things I don't like is the way our seat sits and just looks into the bathroom.
Yeah, but we couldn't avoid that because of the dual sliding doors. Like, if we only had, this sliding door, absolutely. I think the shower in the corner, and then having, I guess, you being able to sit opposite each other or opposite a window or something would be a lot nicer.
The other thing is that the table where it is breaks up the space a lot. So like if one of us is sitting on the computer or editing or whatever, the other one is really confined to being in the bed or in the kitchen, and it's a bit of a pain if you've got stuff spread out on the table to get between the two spaces. But I mean, I think with such a small space, there's always going to be some sort of compromise, and I think overall we're really happy with how the van has worked for us and the layout and everything we've included.
Yeah. Actually, the only other thing is our window covers. Not doing such a hack job on those.
Oh, yes.
Or forking out the cash to buy, like, proper ones. But I think if we had a bit more time before we left, we could have made some nice ones. But
yeah, they're not ideal at all.
Anyway, question 3. How do you go living together in a small space? How do we go living together? Fine.
Honestly, fine. Yeah, it's been totally fine.
Yeah. I don't think it's, like, any different to normal for us.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think maybe a couple of times where we had, and this has just been so rare on our trip, we've had such good weather, but when we've had a couple of periods of, like, really wet weather and you're in the van for, like, more than a whole day.
Get a little bit of cabin fever.
Yeah, a little bit of cabin fever, but it's not so much the two of us in there together. It's
just being in
the small space.
Without being able to go anywhere, I guess.
We did have, there was a period there where Brooke would be watching, like, videos and I'd be reading, and it took us a long time. As dumb as that sounds, it took us a long time to work out that Brooke could put headphones in and then it wouldn't distract me while I'm trying to read.
Yeah, that was silly. But no, like, we've travelled to different countries. We've done a lot together before living in the van. So I think nothing has really changed. The only thing I got to watch out for is making sure Julius is fed so he doesn't get hangry. That's the only thing.
The number one concern.
Because he gets all sooky and angry.
It's true.
Oh, I'm so hungry. I'm like, shut up, feed yourself. And you're the cook, so you
It
should.
was in your vows though, so
I shouldn't have done that.
you should be feeding me.
You're an adult.
But that's probably it for the start of the questions. I think it's time for us to get out and see some of this coastline. We're out here checking out what the mountain biking is like in the South Coast region. But before we check out some of the gravity trails, we've got another question.
So this one's kind of a two-parter. It's how long are you on the road for? Because it goes on to say, I had thought you were staying on the road indefinitely, but in a recent video you mentioned a time limit. Also, if you're not on the road long term, I'm wondering, why did you sell your home?
Well, I think the initial plan was a year. That's what we were working with. I guess we were open to whatever happened, but I took 12 months off my job to do this. So that's kind of what set the time period of a year. And I think that's a good amount of time to do a full lap of Australia.
Yeah. And why did we sell our home? Well, we actually didn't. We are renting the house out, and yeah. So
yeah, that's an easy one.
The thing is, I know a lot of people do sell their houses, and maybe that's their only option to travel. But in my opinion, I'm glad we didn't.
I'm really glad we didn't too.
Full-time travel indefinitely is probably not, like, I think we would love, like, ideally a base where we just shoot off all the time.
Yeah, it's a lot, like it can be tiring. Like, as good as it is, it can be, yeah, a little bit tiring to do it. And I think if you just were going to do that indefinitely, and the other thing is, like, house prices are just skyrocketing constantly. So, like, if we'd sold, it would be so much harder to buy back in. And we were sort of fortunate enough that we still do have a huge mortgage, but the rent is able to sort of cover that. So it sort of looks after itself, if that makes sense. We don't make any money off it to travel, but we don't have to put anything extra in.
Yeah, so there you go. But I reckon this trail, I Love Steve,
let's go check it out.
Has none of our names on it, but
it sounds pretty fun.
It sounds pretty good.
Do I love Steve?
Do you love Steve?
You look like a Steve with those glasses.
Yeah, buddy. Although I got an ant, like a pretty big ant, right?
In your eyeball.
In my eye, because I had my sonny sitting here 20 meters into the trail, not thinking I'd need them, and we spent a good couple minutes
trying to fish it out.
So I'm gonna look like Steve while I ride I Love Steve.
Let's see if we do love Steve. Oh yeah, this is pretty good. I think I love Steve too. We're going to have to share him. Oh, that's so fun. We're down here at the water at Narooma. We just went for a snorkel and it was surprisingly good in terms of the amount of fish that we saw. I wasn't expecting that many fish.
No sea lions though. We didn't fur seals.
No seals. We have seen a lot of seals around, but they didn't come and snorkel with us.
That's all right.
We've got our next question, which is the all-time highlight of the trip for you. And
tough one.
I feel like this is so tough because it's just been so awesome the entire time, and I can't narrow it down to one. So I've gone with my top three in no particular order. I think for me, sunset at Uluru was just incredible. The best sunset I've ever seen. So that's one of them. The other one, mountain biking at Medina. Probably one of my favourite places to mountain bike in Tassie or in Australia in general. So that's going to be on there. And the last one is going to be the tour we did swimming with sea lions over at Jurien Bay in Western Australia.
Yeah. And I can't pick just one either. I'm going to go with all of Julius's. Plus, the time we got a tour by Dutch. So Dutch, if you missed that, from our Cairns video, was where we oh no, it wasn't Cairns, sorry, from our Far North Queensland video, we got a tour from a dog, a
Border
local
collie.
dog,
Yeah,
who
I'd
took
kind
us-
of forgotten about that, to be
Yeah.
honest. It was so long ago.
He took us all the way to a waterhole, swam with us, and then took us all the way back to the van. So that was really cool. As well as the time we, on a whim kind of thing, went up to the Daintree with Jamie and Camille, our mates.
Yeah.
We'd only met them on Instagram.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, and they fully supplied us with everything we needed for an overnight trip up near where was it?
Through the Daintree.
Yeah, I can't remember where we actually stayed, but we went to the Lion's Den and everything, so that was
It was
really
a whirlwind 2 days. We packed a lot in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool.
cool. And also, I've just saw on the rock over there, it's got Nat and Steve, in like someone's written that on the rock, and I just think about Steve from I Love Steve. Nat
right.
also loves Steve. And I also can see a sea lion over there now, splashing around the water. Not near where we were snorkeling, but
On the other side.
on the other side. So
Just
that's
playing,
cool.
laying on his back.
But yeah, they're just some of our highlights. I don't think we could nail it.
No, there's
Down
too
to
many. It's
one.
too hard to nail it down to one. I feel like we've probably cheated by having multiple, but
Yeah, but if we had to pull one of those out of the hat, yeah, then
one of those.
one of those.
While we're here, we'll do another one, which is quite similar to that last one, which was what's our favourite state?
So I think we both can agree that Tassie has the number one spot. For me personally, it's not just for what it is, like, which is awesome, but it's also because it has the most free camps, and mountain biking. It has beautiful water. Like, it kind of just has everything all in one.
Yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes.
I have to give an honourable mention to WA because of some spots in the north and some spots in the south that I particularly love. And also in New South Wales because we were born there, and we're currently on the South Coast and it's amazing. But yeah, I think the trophy
Definitely for
goes
me,
to-
for Tassie.
goes to Tassie.
I agree with all your points.
Yeah.
We've arrived at our next spot, which is at Bendalong Point, and we're hoping to go and hand feed some stingrays. But first, are you excited?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not scared?
Yes. Let's get the leg.
This one's for Brooke, all-time favourite bird.
This is the challenging one.
That is a challenging one.
It's similar to the States where I'm like, I can't pick one. I will give you, some common bird that you see everywhere. I think magpie, just because they're kind of underrated and everyone's scared of them, and it's just chilling,
Just hanging out.
Magpie,
They have a nice song too.
they do, and they sing, and there's so many great qualities about the magpie. But then kind of cool birds that I saw around Australia that I think is epic. Gang cockatoo. One, because he looks really cool, and two, gang cockatoo. What a name.
Great name.
What a name. I don't know. I'll probably think of 10 others.
I think that's a hard one, especially for you. And I know this was for you, but
What's yours?
I'm going to go a cormorant,
Oh.
just because it's a bit of a jack of all trades. It can swim underwater really well. It
Yeah.
flies, it can go on land, and also the way they stand and dry their wings.
You do like a cormorant, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, let us know what your favourite bird is. And I hope you're not scared of birds, because otherwise we can't be friends.
Or stingrays, because that's where we're going now. He stops, he runs into your hand.
Oh my god!
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, I felt it too.
Num-nums?
Well, that was really cool, and those guys were surprisingly friendly.
I love them.
They're really cool.
So
And they're really
cool.
gentle.
Yeah.
They're kind of it's kind of like feeding a horse. You hold your hand really flat, and they come and mum,
Yeah.
Like
or you
gum.
can just kind of
feed it. Yeah.
put it under its face. I don't know. Put it under its body. Just making a pizza here.
I've got the next questions.
Oh, I nearly dropped me pineapple.
We really don't have pizza that much, guys, as well. Like,
No,
I feel like it features so heavily in our videos.
Every day we have pizza.
So this one is, do you get homesick? And it's a two-parter. Who is your favourite cousin? We can guess who's
Well,
throwing
considering
that question in there.
it's going to have to be Shen because she's the only one that actually asked a question. So that answers that. And do we get homesick? Yeah. I guess it's just a part of this whole journey. Missing friends and family. I remember a particular time when we had just set off. It was all new, all exciting. And we'd hit, I think, like far north Queensland. And basically we're about to head across to do the whole lap, you know. And yeah, there was a moment there where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to see my family or friends for a whole year. So that was a little bit like, what are we doing moment? You know, those moments where your brain starts questioning everything, but it's fine.
I think for me, mostly not. There's a couple of times though, like we've been sitting, I think it's when we sit around a campfire and it's just us. And I'm like, oh, like the part I love about camping is sitting around the campfire with mates. And so when it's just us, we're sort of, I don't know, it's still nice, but I feel like that's one of the times. The other one was when we were in Darwin and we're having some issues with the van and the mechanic, and there was like a point there, I swear I was ready to throw the towel in and fly home.
Yeah, that was not ideal.
But I also think when we booked flights to come back for Christmas, like a fair way out, that really helped because we had like a definitive point where we were coming home. So we knew that was going to split up the trip. And next one.
Puts more on.
Who's more competitive between me and you?
Well, it's got to be Julius. The only time I get competitive is when he's so competitive that I just want to win because of how ridiculously competitive you are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I only want to win just to put you back in your place and be like, it doesn't matter. It's not all about winning. But you're like, it is all about winning.
I hate losing.
Sore loser.
I know when you beat me in Mario Kart, I get really like upset. Or when we go real go-karting, I remember I used to always beat you.
Excuse the tinfoil, yep.
And then one day you were like, oh, can I have some tips as to how I can get faster lap times? And then I gave you some tips, and then you, like, I think you won that whole race day out of everyone, and I was...
All the boys.
But I'm
and then
always
you were
like weight advantage. I was like 30, 40 kilos heavier, so... But
mate,
yeah, probably...
It's all skill.
Probably me who's more competitive.
Someone needs to beat Julius at his own game, you know? Put him back in his place.
But we're going to finish our pizza and enjoy that. See you guys later. All right, let's finish this up with a couple of quick questions. So, what was one moment on the trip that you'll look back and go, that was a bit cooked? Probably should explain what cooked means for those non-Australian viewers. Probably something a bit wild or unhinged, I'd say.
Yes. Cooked. It's just cooked.
Just cooked, yeah. It is what it is.
I've got a story in mind, but do you have one in mind?
Yeah, so the one that I think of was in Broome. We were loading some groceries into the van in the shopping centre car park, and a guy probably on some sort of drugs came up and told us he was going to burn the van down if we didn't get out of here.
Or if he'd ever see us here again, he'd burn our van down.
Yeah, and I was sort of trying to talk him down and sort of be reasonable with him.
And I just said, just ignore him, because I don't know why. It was just like, not that we've really dealt with people like that before, but I just had this instinct to be like, we just need to ignore him. And
yeah, I thought that would make him more aggressive, but as soon as I stopped, it was like an NPC in a game. Like, you stop interacting and he just like
disappeared,
just turned around and walked away. Very bizarre.
Yeah.
And what was your cooked moment?
Well, similar theme. A guy on drugs. Pretty much, we were in Perth, decided to go have a nice cup of tea and a Tim Tam and look at the city from the Botanic Gardens. And pretty much, we were sitting there really enjoying the view. And then this guy, I look over and this guy nearly gets hit by a car. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that guy nearly got hit by a car. And then he kind of crashes into the bench almost that we were sitting on. And he's like, can you mind this? And then just took off into the middle of nowhere. Now, we looked down, and because we mountain bike, we noticed that the bike was...
It's a very expensive bike.
in very good condition. And I was like, okay, now we're minding a potentially stolen bike.
Yeah, it was probably like a $6,000 or $7,000 mountain bike.
Yeah, I can't exactly remember.
Didn't fit with the guy that was riding it.
And anyway, he comes back and then he starts going, oh, I'm going to smoke in front of you guys. And we're like, okay, like, do what you want. And then basically kind of just kept getting in our space. And at one point he had a pen and he was very sluggishly trying to, like, stab us,
basically. But he was so slow and...
It was not a threat, honestly.
We were just backing away very slowly.
And then
he
at
was
one
tripping
point,
over himself.
at one point he got behind us and went to spit in our direction, and I was like, okay, fun's over. Like, I was hoping if we could kind of ignore him, the similar thing would happen and he would just make his move on himself, but unfortunately that wasn't the case, so we had to move ourselves on, which isn't a big deal, but we just kind of moved to the other side of the park, I think.
Yeah.
I must say, though, during our travels, we've felt safe traveling around Australia. There were just two moments that were, I mean, one was at night, but, like, the other one was in broad daylight, so it was kind of not really concerning because someone else would have been there, whereas the one at night there was also heaps of people in the park enjoying that time. So yeah, that was probably the two most cooked.
And then to finish up, how much did the van cost? So
the juiciest question of them all. Everyone wants to know.
Exactly,
was it $5,000? Was it $100,000? Was it $500,000? It wasn't.
I hope not.
I can tell you that much, it wasn't.
So the bare van itself was $30,000, and then obviously we had all the fit out costs. I did keep a spreadsheet, and we did do all the work of the fit out ourselves. I must say my meticulous spreadsheet dropped off the closer we got to leaving and finishing, so I don't have an exact figure, but I would say somewhere in the $20,000 to $25,000 mark for the fit out. So sort of probably in that 50 to 55,000 all up. But in saying that, we did do all the work ourselves. So there's obviously the labor in there. I think I would estimate we probably spend somewhere in the order of 500 hours when you factor in all of the planning and the building and everything over the period we built it.
You know, there's two people's time.
Yeah.
You know, most weekends over 9 months, plus the planning that
weeks of holidays and planning after work.
That you did, and the 2 a.m. planning that or ideas that would pop into your head. So, yeah, it's a lot of effort, but yeah, we're stoked with the result.
Yeah.
But thank you for all the questions that were submitted, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, that's so good. I'm glad. People normally say like, subscribe, and I'm like, yeah, do that if you want, but I'm just happy that you enjoyed it and you got to this this point in time, because it's probably like a 20-minute video.
Yeah, thanks for watching.